Rage about the in-game character ranking system is pretty much what you'll find on Reddit when you try and search around the rating system. But today I really wanted to talk about how the rating system works in the game, whether or not it's actually representative of the skill, or even if it represents the matchmaking system that actually works in the game by matching players together, and talking about some of the ways it does kind of suck, and also how it could be improved and how it could be presented better, because a lot of it is in the presentation rather than probably the actual mechanics behind the MMR system. So as it stands, in-game there's a ranking system for each character or champion, and there's also the main rating for yourself. The rating system is only shown for the ranked game, so when you're playing the ranked game mode, and doesn't show anything for the casual matchmaking system, which also seems to have something working in the background which they don't announce. The ranking system currently also is based on ranking from 5,000 to 0. What really grinds most people's gears is the fact that at the moment when you play a few games and you get consecutive wins, so say if you win 7 matches in a row, the MMR, especially for champions, is inflated massively and it grows and grows and grows, but then once you lose something, you also lose big. And a lot of people are going for these plaques. So in the ranking system at the moment, you can get plaques for characters, a diamond one for 4,000 rating, a master one for 4,500 rating, and then the grandmaster over 5,000 rating. However, to get these, you can pretty much just win consecutively for 6 games, maybe go in duo queue with one other player, and then you might be able to get the frame and then not lose it afterwards, which, you know, fair enough, you've got the frame, you probably shouldn't lose it, but you've also got it from only 6 or 7 games after you completely rank. The problem comes in when players actually win, say, 4 matches and lose 2 or 3. They might get to the 3,900 mark, but they're just a notch off of getting that diamond rating. And then once you're sitting there winning games and getting only like 10 MMR, once you lose a game and lose 200, it literally becomes rage mode, and you can see a lot of it offloaded onto the subreddit, our Paladins, and also on the forums itself. Personally, I also have a bit of a problem with the fact that there are champion ratings in the game, because what it does essentially is makes players pick characters in the rank system that might not actually be the best for the situation. So if you've already got like 3 damage dealers and you need a tank and a healer, which obviously you don't always need because Paladins, you can have a bit more fluid like a setup, so you might only have 1 tank, but generally you do want a healer and a tank. And if that doesn't happen, people are going to rage, and the reason why people might not pick it is because the order for getting your champions is random, and you basically want to play the champion to level them up. And although I see it less more now that I've sort of ranked up a bit, I still don't see it as a very good system. I think that they should just get rid of the champion ratings. I do understand that it's nice to get these plaques and these sort of ratings, but at the same time in the competitive setting, it just sets a precedence to only pick 1 champion and sort of troll the matches. And it's not necessarily the player's fault because they want to rank up the champion, and why shouldn't they? That's probably why they're playing ranked in the first place, to get the plaque. The actual ranked MMR, on the other hand, does seem to have a bit more of a logical gain and loss, although the system still seems to be a bit out of whack in that the fact that the first few games will really inflate your score, and then after that it'll try and sort itself out, eventually getting to a point where you're only getting 10s of MMR and losing 10s of MMR. The reason why I've become quite confused as to whether or not the MMR and the rating system for champions in the game actually has any meaning at all compared to the actual matchmaking system in the game is because if you follow some of the external sites like Paladins Guru, which does state it takes the data off of the high-res server and it's provided by high-res, it has its own MMR system that's basically between 0 and I think 5,000, but the highest players actually aren't anywhere near 5,000 yet. Most of them are around the 3,000, so the top players will be that sort of MMR. Basically, you can see all of the matches, you can click on somebody's profile on the match, see what their win rate is, see what their MMR is, what they calculated to be, whether it's a guess or if it's actually from their system. I'm not 100% sure, and trying to ask around and get an answer for this is quite difficult. I've asked some devs, I've asked Reddit, I've checked out on all forums, tried to troll through on Google trying to search out the matchmaking rating, but actually getting a definitive answer is pretty hard. So maybe something will come from this video if it gets enough traction, but I'm not 100% sure at the moment. Either way, what's interesting is how often the ratings on both sides are almost the same. And I've been checking loads of games I've been playing, and relatively my rating on Ranked is just about 2000, and that'll be pretty much level on the ranked system as well. However, on Paladins Guru, the casual system also has MMR ratings, but also these seem to correlate between the matches I play and the ratings that have on each team. Basically the mean amount between both of them on their MMR scores. The systems used in games are usually based on the ELO rating, which was originally used in chess. Basically works out the scores for both players and how much you play and win against one opponent, and how many times an opponent has won and lost, and you get score every time you win, and you get more for playing somebody that's won more, and that's basically what is represented in Paladins Guru. You get up to 25 MMR, I think that's the maximum, but you get between 0 and 25 MMR for each win, and you also get between 0 and 25 taken off if you lose, but it's based on the balance of your team's scores. Back to casual, they are similar ratings, and also parties seem to get matched up more often than not, and what I've noticed in game is that if we're playing as a 5 team, it'll take quite long to match, but we'll be matched against a 5 team as well, and also that those 5 teams aren't necessarily too different in their ratings. The rating system also starts at 1500, and the climb is much more constant and is less inflated by the score, which the case of the game, what it actually shows, it inflates it over 4000 almost straight away. So all the other rating between that, the 0 and 5000, doesn't really matter. But in Paladins Guru, you only get slightly more bonus ELO for winning consecutive games, and the general gain is low. It's in its 20s or 10s, or sometimes you only get a few MMR points if you're playing a lower skilled team. I think that's quite important for the game, and why I think that the ELO system, or at least how visually it shows the ratings in the game, it needs to be more like this Paladins Guru system, because you're in like Dota or any other MOBA, it's the same. You get little bits of MMR and you lose little bits of MMR, and it's fairly constant. And whether or not that's because the champion MMR system seems to be really inflated and a bit out of whack, and whether or not the normal system and the ranking system is more in line with what it actually is, because it inflates it to begin with and then normalizes out a lot, I'm not 100% sure. But going back to ranked, it seems that when you are ranked against enemy players, it doesn't matter so much the score of their MMR in the game. You can be ranked against a 5500, but they're not necessarily that good when you look at them on Paladins Guru. So I played against Bird and Lazy in a ranked match, and you think, oh my god, they're well, if you didn't know, they're in Team Burrito, the top team in the EU. I think they won a couple of tournaments. Basically, they're great players, and if you've played them, you'll know that they are some of the best players in Paladins. They pretty much don't miss. What I'm trying to get at here is that their casual rating, when they play casual games, is massive. They've got like 3000 casual rating on Paladins Guru. But their ranked matches on Paladins Guru, because they haven't played a lot, is a lot lower. It's like 2300 or something, and my competitive rank is about 2000 and a bit, and our rankings when you're looking on the Paladins Guru are barely similar. And if we were to go off the ranks that are shown in game, I was only like 4300, which are now 4600, but they were at 5500, so the rankings didn't really make sense. I just thought it was quite an interesting comparison to make in one of the games. In specific, I noticed that there was a bit of a discrepancy in the patterns, but it made sense when I looked at the Paladins Guru ranking system. So even if the rating system in Paladins Guru isn't accurate as to say their actual workings in the game, I do think it's very interesting to check up the stats on there, especially the win rates and the loss rates, and basically it goes into a lot more depth on player statistics and how they perform. And it might make you look at some players and say, well, actually, I thought it was completely owned there, I thought the ratings were completely out of whack, but when you go into the Paladins Guru, you can look at their win rates, and maybe actually they lose loads of games, and you're like, well, they actually got a low elo, they've lost a load of games, but maybe they just had a good game this time. I think a lot of people are getting angry at games and getting rolled because they can't see the elo rating, they can't see the competitive rating, they can't check up on players and the stats and everything like that. I think something like Paladins Guru, or just some more ranking systems and just sort of information about how you're matchmaking would be great to put in the game, as it would just put people at ease and stop claims about parties and things like that. But at the very least, I have let you know about Paladins Guru, and it can be a great resource for you to check out if you aren't satisfied with how the matchmaking is going in the game and you're just wondering how you're doing and how you're stacking up against other players of skill. Personally, I think that the MMR in-game just sort of is out of whack and doesn't reward people and punishes people too much when they are on the winning streaks, and it's just annoying people at the moment. Also, to see people in the top 100 on the top 100 rankings with only like 7 wins and 0 losses is always a kick in the bollocks. I'll also say this, that the master rank, when you get over 5,000 ranking in the rank system, looks like they're banned as well. That needs to be changed. The master ranking just looks rubbish. I remember seeing Bugsy as the top Drogos, and I thought, why the hell has he been banned? Because it just looked like it looks like a padlock. It looks like they've been banned from the game. And I asked him on Twitter, why have you been banned? He's like, oh no, I haven't been banned. It's just the master ranking. It looks really rubbish. And I completely agree. That just needs to go. If these portraits stay, it just needs like upping, maybe to be like a gold encrusted frame instead of like that. Just what was that? Anyway, what does everyone else think about the MMR system in the game? Can anyone elucidate us all further with some more facts about what actually goes on in the workings of matchmaking? And what would your ideal rank system be, and what would you have in the game to show off all the statistics in a clean and usable way, really? Be sure to let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button. If you thought it was rubbish, give it a dislike. And thank you all very much for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more, and I'm hopefully getting out an Androxus guide probably on Wednesday, because Tuesdays are my worst day, but I have done the script and I've got all of the points together, and basically the guide's taking shape. I just need to record it and do the editing, and I'll probably release it completely on Wednesday, and hopefully get some other sort of video out tomorrow. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Until next time, everybody, Joshino.